Hi, I'm Debbie Tran, Project Manager of the Aggie Enterprise Chart of Accounts design team. Today I want to share more about our team's progress in designing the new UC Davis Chart of Accounts. More specifically, I want to talk about our segment design and definitions. We've made several decisions regarding segments in the new Chart of Accounts, including what they'll be and how they'll work together. Our new approach not only aligns with the UC Office of the President requirements, but also provides you better financial views of your organization and with less effort. If you're not already familiar with segments, think of them as predefined single-use categories, each of which describes an element of a transaction. For example, one segment tells us the funding source of a transaction, while another segment tells us the purpose. Together, the segments tell us the unique financial story of each transaction. Our new Chart of Accounts has 11 segments. 4 of the segments are required to support reporting requirements at the UC Office of the President and local level. Required segments are those in which transactors must enter values. 2 segments are required if you're entering expense transactions or transactions related to the UCOP or UC Davis sanctioned programs. 2 optional segments are available to financial departments to use for additional categorization of transaction, offering greater flexibility to meet departmental business needs and reporting requirements. And finally, values for the 3 remaining segments are generated by the system. The first segment of our new Chart of Accounts is Entity. This segment identifies the major organizational unit within the UC system associated with the transaction. Some examples of entity values for UC Davis include UC Davis Campus, UC Davis Medical Center, A&R, and UC Davis Foundation. This segment closely aligns with our current KFS charts. Our next required segment, Fund, answers the question how the transaction is being funded. It identifies and records the type of funds generated or expended. This segment also supports reporting of net position. At the highest level, UC Davis will have 5 major fund categories: unrestricted, restricted expendable, restricted unexpendable, net investment in capital assets, and agency funds. More details, including examples of each fund category, are available on the Aggie Enterprise website. Our third required segment is Financial Department. It tells us who is responsible for the transaction. This can be a department, division, school, or unit, meeting the criteria of having a permanent budget, identifiable and permanently funded employees, and generally an allocation of physical space. Financial Department will align with the UC Davis HR organizational structure to further support consistency in reporting. Natural Account answers the question, what is the type of transaction? It classifies a transaction as a specific type of revenue, expense, recharge, transfer, asset, liability, or net position. Purpose, a required segment for expense transaction, supports federal and other external reporting requirements. It's needed for compliance with federal cost principles and reporting of expenses by functional class. Purpose most closely aligns with the higher ed function codes, which are currently embedded in an attribute of KFS accounts. Examples of purpose include instruction, research, student services, academic support, and teaching hospitals. An optional use for the purpose segment is classifying revenues, reflecting the mission of the university. The program segment is required for UCOP and UC Davis sanctioned programs. It categorizes revenues and expenses to associate the transaction with a specific formal, ongoing system-wide, cross-campus or cross-location program. There are 2 categories of programs: the system-wide and cross-campus programs defined by the UCOP Common Chart of Accounts, such as the Ag Experiment Station and UC Sacramento, and local programs endorsed by UC Davis leadership, including Healthy Davis Together. Projects will fall into one of 2 types: GL only or project portfolio management, PPM for short. GL-only projects are locally defined to track financial activity for a body of work that spans across fiscal years. These projects are less complex and don't need the support of the PPM functionality. For GL-only project transactions, the project segment value is optional. PPM projects are more complex and need to be managed at a granular level. To support the complexities of projects such as contracts and grants, capital projects, and faculty portfolios, we will be implementing the PPM subledger module in Oracle. Users will be required to transact in PPM using the POET AF string rather than transacting on the new chart of accounts. We'll dive deeper into POET AF in our upcoming subledger videos. Activity is another optional segment that was locally defined. It categorizes significant recurring transactions that require reporting because of their financial significance. Some examples include commencement, recruiting, and student organizations. Finally, we have our system-generated segments. These segments are visible to transactors, but they cannot be modified by the transactors. The interentity segment supports balancing segment functionality. When a chart of accounts segment is configured as a balancing segment in the Oracle system, due to, due from transactions are automatically created between segments so that those segments are always in balance. UC Davis plans to configure the entity and fund segments as balancing segments. Finally, we have our two future segments. These are reserved for future use by the UC Office of the President. Establishing these additional segments now makes responding to future segment needs easier. So those are our new segments. Are you still with me? I hope so. Now let's talk about how these segments work together. The new chart of accounts uses a multidimensional matrix-style structure. It allows us to share common values across UC Davis, which supports consistent financial reporting and reduces the overall number of values. In the current KFS system, some values such as fund are hidden as embedded attributes, and users have to create a new full chart string every time they want to track a different type of transaction. The new matrix-style chart of accounts makes all of those attributes visible in their distinct segments, and users simply select a new combination of segment values to meet their needs. Let's look at an example. The departments of Human Ecology, Chemical Engineering, and School of Law all have faculty salary expenses. With the new system, these financial departments can use the same shared values for entity, fund, account, and purpose. For the financial department segment, they can select the best option from a list of established values. As you can see, our new chart of accounts design gives us a full financial picture of each transaction. As we wrap up, I want to hand it off to UC Davis Assistant Vice Chancellor and Controller, Matt Okamoto, to talk about our updated approach to data governance. It's a critical element that directly supports the segments and values in our new chart of accounts. Matt?
Thanks, Debbie. As you've just heard, a lot of great work is being done to design our new chart of accounts. When the new chart is rolled out and master data is distributed across the university, it's imperative that the right mix of policies and people are in place to manage, maintain, and protect our data. This is what we call data governance, and it's something we've been working hard to get right. We'll be implementing a system for creating new chart values, which will be shared across UC Davis. The Oracle Cloud Financial System provides a high level of functionality and has a complex structure. There are technical dependencies, such as reporting, security, and validation rules that will be impacted by the new chart of account values. This requires us to move from our current full accounting unit, or FAU, process of new value creation, where departments are responsible for creating their own values, to a centralized data governance approach. Right now, we're planning the approval levels required for each segment, the process for requesting new values, and ensuring that resources are in place to prevent bottlenecks and delays. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Matt. We've been spending a lot of time trying to get this new chart of accounts right, and we looked for every resource available to guide our decisions. When we designed our prototype, we looked at the UC Office of the President requirements to ensure we met their specifications. We talked to stakeholders across the campus, Schools of Health, the Foundation, and the Cal Aggie Alumni Association. We held discovery sessions with these groups, demonstrated the COA prototype in proof of concept scenarios, and leveraged the expertise of a chart of accounts advisory group. We compared our design to other complex research institutions operating on the Oracle Cloud Platform. And we talked to our sister campuses, specifically UC Merced and UC San Diego, who've already redesigned and implemented their chart of accounts to learn from their experiences. It's been a lot of work, but we're really looking forward to seeing this new chart of accounts improve financial reporting for the campus and improve the experience of the UC Davis financial community. To help you learn more about segment design and definitions and the work we've done so far with the new chart of accounts, we've created reference materials that you can find on our website. We're looking to make the Aggie Enterprise and Chart of Accounts initiative a successful one for all members of the UC Davis finance, budget, and business operations community. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to us. We want to know your thoughts and get your feedback on this exciting project. Thank you for your time today.